This is the solution to number 4b from notes P.5 and P.6. It's an extra example of how to simplify a complex fraction. We're going to try to solve this problem in two ways. Method one is we're going to multiply the numerator and denominator by the least common denominator of all the denominators. The second method is we're going to simplify the numerator and denominator separately. So let's start with the first method. So we actually have 4 denominators here. So this 2 I'm going to think of as 2 over 1. So the 4 denominators that we have amongst all these fractions is we have 4, 2, 1, and x. The least common denominator for those 4 denominators is 4x. So we're going to multiply the numerator and the denominator both by this least common denominator, and I'm going to write it as 4x over 1. And then we're going to multiply 4x times each of the terms in the numerator. So when we multiply 4x here times x over 4, the 4's cancel, and we are left with the quantity x squared. When we multiply 4x times 3 over 2, here 4 divided by 2 becomes 2, and we're left with 6x. So we get plus 6x. The denominator, when we multiply 4x times 2, so we're going to do that next. So we're going to do 4x times 2. We're left with 8x, and then we're going to multiply 4x times the quantity 3 over x. The x's are going to cancel, and we're going to be left with minus 12. And you see what happened very nicely is we've canceled out all the fractions, and now we're going to factor. So we're going to get x times x plus 6 in the numerator, and we'll factor out a 4 in the denominator. We'll get 4 times 2x minus 3. We have no common factors that we can cancel out. So this is our simplified expression, and then we need to list the domain. So the domain is all real values where x is not equal to 0, because x, we used to have a 0 here in the denominator when x was 0, and x is not equal to 3/2. Okay, let's try method 2. Method 2, we're going to simplify the numerator first and then the denominator. So let's work with the numerator. We're going to have here the least common denominator of the numerator is 4. So I'm going to have x over 4 plus 3 over 2. And I'm going to multiply by funny forms of 1. So I'm going to multiply 3 by the quantity 3 over 2 by the factor 2 over 2. And in the denominator, my least common denominator is x. So I'm just rewriting the denominator here, but then we're going to multiply this first fraction by x over x to give it a denominator of x. And now we will carry on. So we have x over 4, simplifying the numerator, plus 6 over 4. And then the denominator, we have 2x minus 3 over x. I'll add those fractions in the numerator, x plus 6 over 4. The denominator is 2x minus 3 over x. When dividing fractions, we multiply, we flip the denominator and multiply. So we have x plus 6 over 4 times x over 2x minus 3. And we're going to end up with the quantity x times x plus 6 over 4 times 2x minus 3, which is what we got before, and the domain will still be the same. X is not equal to 0 or 3/2.